So I'm going to be starting you off here with some of the latest and greatest tools that we have. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey here. Bear with me. This is going to be fast and furious, and I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you. And a lot of it's going to be quite high level. The idea here is to kind of get this on your radar if you've not heard of these tools yet. Some of them maybe you're already using. And we'll be talking a little bit about best practices as well. But essentially, envision this being a buffet. I'm going to set up a variety of dishes and tasty treats. Some of it you might like, some of it you might not like. And it's completely up to you as to what you think will benefit you and your team to make the best game you possibly can. So here you'll see we're going to be talking about pre-launch, launch window, and post-launch. So first we'll dive into pre-launch, and this is where I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time, because really here's where you are going to be forging in the fire to create your best game, right? This is where you're going to be doing a lot of testing. You're going to be iterating a lot, making a lot of mistakes, learning from it. So here's the opening mantra that I wanted to throw at you, which is test earlier, test wider, test better. So maybe the first and the third feel comfortable for you as a small team. Maybe the middle one, not so much. So this is something that we've been advocating for teams of all kinds of sizes, because we've built a lot of tools that allow you to do this. And there's a benefit to test wider, which hopefully means you're doing a lot of problem solving and eliminating those unforeseen issues that pop up once you have launched and perhaps you didn't test as widely as you thought you did. So first, let us start with internal testing. This is a really great way and a great tool to use for your team. This is team testing. This allows you to launch a new build within seconds versus hours. Very fast iteration. You're getting different builds out several times a day if needed, if you're doing quick fixes and you're really addressing that foundational stuff early on. Next, we move to closed testing. This is where you broaden out a little bit to maybe your highest engaged users, those who are really excited about your game, maybe friends and family as well. And here's where you can start getting a sense of what your gamers are telling you. This is very foundational feedback that you're getting initially from a very small set of your user base. This is also known as closed beta. So here we have our friends at Butterscotch Shenanigans talking about their experience. And essentially this has been crucial for them in targeting those bugs and those crashes so that they're launching a product that they feel confident about, they feel good about it, and the tool really facilitates that for them. What this also does for you is it allows you to start getting a little bit more of that wider testing in there, wider variety of users. So you're getting a spectrum of feedback. Closed testing also is great because it gives you a chance to not have any kind of ratings effects. Okay, so if you're wanting to take big, bold moves around feature testing, one of your team members has a crazy idea, and you want to throw it out there into the wild within this particular audience, this is a great place to do that. So who's heard of early access? Has anyone been part of the early access program on Play? Great. Okay. So this is our official program. This is a program that you actually have to apply for. And this is open beta that is officialized as a program on Play. And the difference between open beta, which I'll be speaking to right after this, which anyone can do, you don't have to apply for, is that this gives you an opportunity to actually be featured on the store. And the next slide will also talk about what that collection looks like. So when you actually apply for this, and if you get accepted, you are then merchandised on the store as an unreleased game. So this is a great way to get visibility and start funneling users for free into your game. Really great for indies. I know a lot of indies just don't have UA budget, or it's very minimal, or you have to be very strategic about where you use that. And this is an opportunity to give you that leg up and get that visibility. The important caveat around this program is that your APK cannot have been in production at all in any country if you want to actually be a part of early access. So they're always experimenting to see how they can get as many gamers into your game as possible. But at the end of the day, you're getting really great visibility around that. And so here's our Iron Horse, who we have with us today, who was talking about how instrumental this has been to launching their games, especially in that beta phase, and getting users into their games early, and how incredibly useful that's been for them. And Mike will actually be speaking on a panel a little bit later today, and I'm sure this topic will come up as well, and feel free to ask him questions about that. And so this is open beta. So if, let's say, you spend some time in early access, you got some really great visibility, you're not quite ready to fully launch yet, this is an opportunity to then move over into that next phase of open beta. And again, this is where you can have a lot of freedom to still be doing testing to get a sense of what's working and what isn't, and not have any consequences of ratings. So the thing about Google Play is that if you have a rating at this stage in the game, it does stick with your overall average rating. So it's really important to iterate as much as you can before full launch when the ratings really do start mattering. And this gives you an opportunity to make those mistakes and not have those consequences show up on your user rating. Okay, so to sum it all up, here are all of those phases I mentioned. You start off very fast, very iterative with your own team, working out the fundamentals. Then you can broaden it out a little bit, close testing with a very small group of your user base, get some really good detailed feedback. Then you can move into early access if you wish, start getting some visibility around your game in that unreleased phase. And then lastly, you can transition into open beta or open testing and really broaden it out as wide as you can before you go into full launch. So one little thought starter that I'd like to plant in your mind is continuously evaluate your process. Teams of all sizes, this is not just an indie thing. We've seen large teams get stuck in ruts around how they develop games. And I think it's really easy to get into a pattern and get into a habit, and it becomes solidified. As we all know, mobile is still moving stupid fast. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of volatility in this market. And Android, Google is always launching new tools for you. So always look at how you can optimize your own process, because at the end of the day, this is your opportunity to make the best game you can. And I want you to be successful, and Play wants you to be successful. Okay, so now we're in launch window. So here's a couple things I'll be touching on quickly that will give you some thought starters and things to check out, maybe I'd say 1 or 2 months before your launch. So maybe we can make you 100% confident. Maybe not 100%, maybe way more confident than you have been in the past. I remember what that was like to launch games and how nerve-wracking that was, and watching user ratings and watching the stats on from the Play console or from the back end of whatever platform you've launched on. So hopefully we can minimize those stress points. Here we are, device catalog and pre-registration. Does anyone use the device catalog? Raise your hands. Couple. Oh, great. This is an opportunity for you all. This is exciting. Okay, so one of the great things about Android is that you can reach a lot of users. We have a huge variety of devices out there that the reach is incredible. Now, we all know the downside of that. Fragmentation can be a bit of a nightmare, especially when you are a very small team. It's very intimidating, and it's quite unruly. So I encourage you all to check out the device catalog, because what this is knowledge for you, and knowledge is power. And essentially what the device catalog is within the Play console. This is something each and every one of you can access from your own Play console, is you can see a list of thousands of devices, Android devices, with a ton of really great granular detail. And I'll show you an example of what that screen looks like. And this is here because we want to really reduce those pain points of the fragmentation of the ecosystem. But also, too, I would challenge you all to try to support as many devices as you can. One thing that I hear that is fairly common across indies is that there's this really great desire to want to get your game into as many players' hands, which I think is a really beautiful thing to achieve. And I would hate to see you limited by that, by devices. And of course, that's going to depend on the game, right? There's certain games that you just can't run on certain devices. So start wide. Start as broad as you can, which will feel very scary and counterintuitive. But really what you're able to do then is once you launch, or once you have your game running on as many devices as you can then go into the detail pages right here. And you can see things like RAM, screen size, density, all sorts of really great details around the specs of those devices. And icing on top of that is you can see actually how your game is doing from a sales perspective on those devices. And it's interesting to hear how many developers that are using the device catalog are very surprised by how there's some segment or grouping of devices that they just weren't aware of or had no idea that their game was performing quite well, and that there was an opportunity for them to optimize and make that experience better. So this is your chance to not only serve as many gamers as you possibly can in the rich ecosystem that is Android, but also gives you the power to provide a consistent and fun experience, no matter which device they're on. So just to recap a little bit about that, try to support as many devices as you can, use that knowledge, empower yourself with everything the device catalog is giving you, and then really laser cut out those devices that information is telling you is not working. And try to do it temporarily. Some you may not ever be able to support, but there may be some that you just had written off that you could revisit and address later on. So again, you're broadening your user base. Next, pre-registration. Pre-registration is an opportunity for you to build hype. This is you getting a page up on the store that allows gamers to, A, know that your game is coming before you're even launched, gives them a little bit of information about what your game is about, and allows them to click on the Sign Up Now button, and they will then get a notification when your game launches. It's a great way to see and anticipate interest so that you can have an understanding of how, if you are in tandem in closed beta or open beta, it gives you an opportunity to understand how to maybe manage your UA or your community building efforts. It's a very useful tool that way. And here's some best practices that we recommend in terms of time frames. So anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks. I actually think the sweet spot is about a month. And give yourself a chance to plan for this. So pre-registration, I'm going to be speaking a little bit more on this in a second. This is actually not available to everyone yet, and I have a caveat for that just for everyone here in the room today. But this is something you do actually have to apply for, much like early access. It's a program. It's a very specific program that you have to submit a request for. So, as I just alluded to and kind of teased on, you will be receiving some information after this event via email about those of you who have not been part of the early access program around this. You will actually be able to apply for pre-registration before we fully launch it by the end of the year. So keep your eye out for that. This is a really cool tool and opportunity for you to be a part of something before we launch it to the community at large. Okay, now let's head into post-launch. So we'll be talking about a couple things here. We're going to be talking about an insights page, which is actually quite new as a feature and very useful, as well as Play Instant. And then I'll touch very lightly on vitals. This is actually something Ben is going to talk a little bit more about later. Okay, so where are your players coming from? This is a question that we would, or a feature that we would get requested on the regular by developers big and small, which is, can you please give us visibility into how people are finding us on the store? Here you go. This is how you can check that out. This breaks it down in terms of search terms, gives you a sense of how people are finding their way to your game on the Play Store. Very useful tool. Here's one of our developers saying that it's just been an incredible insight for them and has really allowed them to figure out how to optimize their description pages and how to leverage search words as best as possible to the advantage of gamers being able to find their game on the Play Store. So then how can you actually get more users into your game? We have Play Instant. This is a piece of technology that we've optimized for games specifically just recently, and this gives gamers an opportunity to play a small segment of your game without downloading anything. Ostensibly, what it does is it puts a Try Now button on there once you've implemented that API, and this is a really great way to break down that friction, right? Especially if you make paid games, highly recommend this. Here's some information around what kind of conversion rates we're seeing around user acquisition for indie games specifically. This is early days. We just have game developers starting to implement this in the past few months. So we're seeing anywhere from 8% to 20% UA uplift. And here's a bunch of ways that you can actually funnel people into your instant game. So we have it implemented into ads. We have deep links. There's a place on the store that's a collection that's dedicated to this. A lot of really great ways to leverage this. Highly recommend it. Here's some more information for you around instant games. Give you guys a chance to take a picture. Okay. All right, vitals. Vitals is something that will give you a snapshot into the health of your game. Crash rates, wake locks, things like that. We want to be able to give you that very quick picture into how your game is performing and how users are experiencing your game and where you can actually troubleshoot. So Subway Surfers, whose wildly popular game on Play, they have been using it, and just recently they were able to address a crash that was coming out of nowhere and allow them to fix that really quickly. Definitely take a look at that. Okay, whew. So there's the buffet for you. That's everything we quickly went through. So some final thoughts. I know that was a lot. I know that was kind of information overload, but I would invite you to really pick and choose what's going to work for your team. Not everything will apply, and that's okay. It's really your choice into what you would like to use. But don't be afraid of change, and don't be afraid to try something new. I know that the console can be quite overwhelming because we have so many great tools, and it's a lot. Give it a try. And here are some more resources for you for that really quick high touch that I just gave you. Here's where you can do deep dive into those features. There's a lot to learn. There's a bunch that I didn't even mention. So here are your resources, and here's where you can get updates. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate that.